This is Houston, loud and clear. Break, buzz, this is Houston. Radio check and verify TV circuit breaker in. Read 5 clear. And we're getting a picture on the TV.
The hopper. Yeah, the hopper. The hopper. That one DVR lets us record up to 6 shows at once and play them back in any room.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
What's up, lead dogs? Welcome to episode 14 of the Satellites Unlimited podcast. I'm your host, Grant Hoban. As per usual, I am joined by John P. and Todd McClinton. And guys, we have an action-packed episode this week, per usual. We asked an interesting question about what's your favorite band or artist or concert experience. We'll dig into that here in a little bit. We have 3 wonderful guests lined up. We have Joshua Phillips. I believe it's Joshua Phillip, if I'm not mistaken, from the Crestview location.
Goes by Josh.
You know, it can get confusing, right? When his general manager is James Phillips.
Right.
But this is Joshua Phillip,
Yep.
singular, not plural.
Yeah.
Right. And then we also have longtime veteran Kenny Jackson from the Montgomery office. Almost sounds like a country artist name, right?
Kenny Jackson.
And then we have Michael Matthew, an FSM with an array of experience, formerly of DRS, now with Satellites Unlimited, a plethora of experience as a technician in FSM in our Gainesville location. So super pumped about today's show. How are you guys doing today?
Well, I'm doing just fine. At first, Grant, I got to tell you, I was a little bit disappointed that we decided to go the route of audio instead of video for this program. But now I'm actually relieved because, folks, for those of you listening right now, I am the odd man out. I'm the only one at the table right now who is not wearing his official Satellites Unlimited podcast shirt. So these guys have been very harsh on me, to say the least. Today.
Oh, harsh.
Yes,
Please.
I would say harsh. You've been
John.
very critical of why I'm not. And the color's still the same. It's just I don't have the logo.
Well, the reality of the matter is, John, look, I thought we all agreed that with these wonderful shirts, by the way.
They are beautiful. Yes, they are. Grant, thank you very much. You did a great job.
Nice and comfy.
Yes.
Great logo, nice and big, prominently displayed. Next time that we do a video, you better be wearing that shirt.
Well, and that's the reason why I didn't wear the shirt today, guys, because I knew ahead of time. Grant and I talked about this yesterday that it was not going to be a video broadcast. We were sticking with audio, so that's why I didn't wear the shirt. So forgive me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to say anything, but hey, as soon as I saw you not wearing the shirt, I said, okay, we're definitely not doing the camera today. And we know John P. He's with his vast experience throughout his lifetime. When we talk about Home Shopping Network, wrestling on TV, like this guy is a sucker for having that camera on. Is he not, Todd?
He's. I think he's suffering from separation anxiety from the video.
Well, next time, if we do a video broadcast, I will most definitely have the Satellites Limited podcast shirt, which, by the way, will soon be available, I believe, on SUIPodcastshop.com. Maybe.
That's the goal. And
that is the goal.
I know, Todd, you were talking about how comfy the shirts are, but one thing I feel about these things, they're a little warm. Like they get a little warm to me. Like, I don't know if I'm just hot-blooded or.
It's the double knit, I think.
That's a great song, by the way. Hot Blooded.
Oh,
wait.
That.
Wow, he pulled that in quick.
That was. Man.
So I'm super excited about today's broadcast because it's a subject I think that's near and dear to everybody's heart. And overwhelming, a cavalcade of responses, John P.
Yeah, really. I mean, just a vast array of tastes in music.
Absolutely. And so I was super excited about this podcast today because music is important to everybody. I think it's something that I don't think there's any single human being out there that doesn't have an appreciation for some form of music. And it's interesting to see, as you said, John, the variety of musical styles that we are represented in today's broadcast.
So what's that saying? Music hath charm to soothe the savage breasts or beast, either way. I've heard it both. No, I've heard it both ways.
Careful there, John.
No,
he brought breast into it quick.
No, it's look it up. I mean, I've heard it both ways. I've heard it's music hath charm to soothe the
I think
savage
his
beast.
lack of shirt is getting a little
just,
saucy.
All
right, guys.
I was somewhat.
All right, guys. Google it, you'll see. All right, it's perfectly clean.
I just thought the way that he eloquently, kind of, laid that out was impressive, and I was not expecting it. And I would agree with you is that, music is healing in so many ways, and I think that you can just, I've used it to handle difficult situations in my life. I've, we obviously, music is oftentimes inspiring and uplifting. So, many times if you want to feel a certain way, you can definitely accomplish it by listening to music. And I would agree with you through the 15 responses that we received, just a vast array, just a wide variety of musical taste. So that would lead me to a question for you guys is what is your specific taste in music?
You want to go first or me to go? Because in my mind, I have a long answer here. So.
I already have the answer that you're going to answer in my head right now. I think I've got that. But, I'm going to reflect something that you just said, Grant, and that is it really depends. A lot of that depends on how I want to feel, right? So if I'm particularly sad about something, I just want to mire myself in that, right? So I use certain types of music. If I want to relax, then there's a different type of music that I use for that situation. If I'm taking a walk or out running or whatever, I know it's not evident, but there's certain music that I like. Oh, like dance music is great to work out to, right? Or electronica or something along those lines, because you can use the beat for the steps, right? Do I have a favorite music? What do I prefer to listen to? It's a weak answer, but I am going to say it really depends. I can give you examples.
Was a weak answer.
Yeah, I can give you examples of everything. But
I understand where you're coming from.
I'm super eclectic in my musical.
Sure, it sounds like you're just very diverse in your taste.
Yeah.
So,
guys, I'm probably all over the place as well with my taste in music, and
somehow I don't believe that.
No, I really, and I mean, I can go from different eras.
Gangster rap.
No, it's like
no. A little bit of Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre on the way to work.
But I mean, music from the '60s, from the '70s, from the '80s.
It stops in mid '90s.
I'd say early '90s. Yeah, some of the early '90s stuff as well.
Anything past '95, we don't want to have it.
But I mean, it's going to be classic rock. It's going to be new wave, R&B, disco. Country music. I love country music as well. So and again, like to Todd's point, it depends on my mood. And what's interesting is you take an artist like a Billy Joel, okay? Like, I don't know if our younger audience knows who Billy Joel is. I would think they would.
BJ.
Billy Joel is an artist popular in the '70s, popular in the '80s, okay? And he would actually get a lot of mileage out of personal pain. He would use his personal pain to write his music.
Yeah, and I think you see that from a variety of different artists too. Like, like I'll just use an example, like 3 Days Grace. A lot of that is very breakup, relationship oriented. So it's very good if you're going through something like that. Right. I would say and what I realized from all these submissions is I was like, man, I've been to a lot of concerts in my time. And I have some interesting stories to share later on. Some that I think you may not be surprised. But is the wild younger years. But I've been to a lot of concerts, and I would say my musical taste is diverse too. I do like jazz. I do like R&B. I'll listen to rap. Like John, I think there's probably a cutoff time. I can incorporate a few newer things into my repertoire, but I'm almost thinking it almost fades away after 2010 somewhat. And but like I would say, out of the genre I probably listen to the least, it's probably country. But I love hard rock. When we're talking about like an Avenged Sevenfold or a Metallica, not like the really, really hard stuff. Like I was never like a Megadeth type guy, or I have listened to some Pantera and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily my flavor. But love gangster rap. Classic rock is great. I mean, I love Pink Floyd, Led Zepp, a little bit of Journey, Def Leppard, those types of things. So
I got to know East Coast or West Coast, or Biggie Smalls.
I think I started off kind of East Coast, but then it kind of swapped over once Tupac went east to west.
Right.
He came out with actually the first double CD, the first rap double CD in '96. The All Eyes on Me album. And that's when he signed with Death Row Records. So that was the transition from east to west for him.
Brilliant lyricist.
Absolutely. And I think had a lot of substance to what he
had a message.
He rapped about. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah. So
I have a question for both of you guys. Grant, you first. How many concerts would you say you've attended in your lifetime?
Man. If I had to guess, man, it's probably going to be in between 50 and 100. Probably.
50 and 100 concerts?
50 and 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Todd, how about you?
Yeah, I'm not a big concert goer, but I'm surrounded by people that are. So I get drugged to concerts. Not drugged at concerts.
Not drugged at concerts, but drugged to
I get
concerts.
drugged
I
to
just want some
concerts.
clarification.
Yeah.
Drugged or dragged?
Right?
I don't play
That's
that way. I don't play that way.
So,
but yeah, it's probably about 20.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have me beat by a mile. And Grant, I shared this with you the other day. The number of concerts I've attended in my lifetime, I can count on one hand and still have fingers to spare. So,
wow.
My very first concert I attended was in 1986. It was the Outfield. You remember the Outfield?
Mm-hmm. I do.
All right. And then that was followed in 1989 by A Flock of Seagulls, although I wouldn't even count that really as a concert, guys, because it was in a small club in Tampa.
Yeah.
It was only the one original singer,
It's still a
lead singer.
concert. If you were at a venue and you were listening to a live,
And man, they didn't draw but maybe 150 people at this event. So it was funny. But now when I was younger, when I was a teenager in high school, and this goes back to 1980, I wanted to go see, you're gonna laugh when I say this, I wanted to see Neil Diamond in concert at the Pittsburgh Civic Arena.
yeah.
But I was 15 years old, and unfortunately, tickets were sold out. 2 shows completely sold out. Never got to see Neil Diamond. And then a year later, I wanted to go see the Cars. Remember the Cars?
I do.
Okay. They were playing in Cleveland, Ohio, which was about 2 hours from Pittsburgh. But my parents wouldn't let me go because I was going to have to ride with a bunch of other 16-year-olds, and they just thought that was too dangerous. So anyway, that's the extent of my my concert attendance.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to dig into more of this. We're going to evaluate some of that, John P. And heck, by the time we get done with this show today, heck, you may have concert tickets before we get done with this podcast. So I tell you what, we have our first guest on the line. This is Mr. Joshua Phillip out of the Crestview location. And at this point, we're going to send it over to Todd for the interview.
Your systems are offline.
Hey, Josh, how's it going? Can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir. Hey, how's it going this morning?
It's going really well. Man, I'm so happy you decided to join us on this podcast, because I think it's important that we have an opportunity to get to know, especially get to know some of our relatively newer technicians. It's been not a very long journey for you thus far in your journey with our company.
Yeah.
So for some of us older guys, it seems like our technicians are just keep getting younger and younger. Tell our audience, Josh, how old are you and where did you grow up?
20 years old, and I pretty much grew up all over. Spent a little bit of time in Orlando and moved to Monroeville, Alabama with my grandma. And then my family finally settled down here in Crestview about 8 years
Awesome.
back. 8 years
Right.
back.
So you live in Milton right now, right?
Yes. Once I met my wife, that's relocated to.
Awesome. Great area down there. Lots of coastline.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is beautiful. Nice
How
weather
is-
now that all this rain done passed by.
Is Milton considered part of the Emerald Coast?
Kind of, sort of, but not necessarily because of how far inland it is.
So you're on the coast. What do you like to do with your spare time?
To be honest, we're staying in Milton. I stay out. We stay out 14 acres. I'm an old man at the house. I sit at the house on the front porch and just like run around the yard, run around in the yard.
So as you get older, when you get our age, you're going to be sitting on a rocking chair telling the kids to get out of my yard.
Pretty much.
So tell us, Josh, how long have you been with the company now?
I forget myself. 4 or 5 months now. I would say so.
Yeah, I'm thinking about 4 months. You started, I think, on May 30th of this year.
Yes.
So one of the reasons why we wanted you on the podcast today is because we follow up with you guys in the training department. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback from the Crestview office about how you've adapted to the working conditions, how you're starting to ramp up very quickly as a technician. But you got here somehow. What attracted you to the role of an SUI technician?
Well, to be honest, man, I've been applying with y'all for a long time. Since 18, because I started working in the zip top factory, and doing that for so long, I didn't change the scenery. Computer technology is actually what I wanted to go to school for, college, computer engineering and software engineering. So not having the opportunity, I've been applying for tech jobs, and I see I apply for it, they never get back with me. But, next companies do. So finally, I put in that application, and someone called me and said, "Hey, this is so-and-so with this. Just get up with the application." And so I told her, I said, "Yes, ma'am." So as soon as I got the call, I hopped on it as soon as possible because it's a career path that I have been doing for a few years. Just, God knows when the opportunity is. So we let the man upstairs do his work,
Well, that's absolutely right. And the best way to look at it, in my opinion, quite frankly. Super important. We have quite a few newer technicians that listen to this broadcast every week, every other week. And especially when we have the opportunity to talk to a newer technician that's really catching on and really making waves in their office with their enthusiasm and their ability to go out and learn this. In your time here, what's been the most challenging part of the tech job for you?
Most challenging part, I would have to say, trees. Believe it or not, trees. Everything else on the job, everything else on the job is simple. But when you get to a house that got a lot of trees and you got to try to focus, you could be there for a minute. That's the only part of the job that I like, As far as that, it's simple. It's easy work. set the receiver up, follow the lines, put the dish on the ground, one dish, a line dish to the satellite, and then boom. Only the main part is when you have the obstructions in the way, being trees or buildings, but it's quite simple work.
Right. Well, there's not much you can do about trees. They're
No.
just kind of there. But there are some nuances to finding lines of sight and ways to do jobs. And those things obviously get better with time, right? Those trees become less of an obstacle as you get further on in your career because you figure out creative ways around trees. It's hard to believe, but it happens.
Yeah, well, that's what I keep telling myself. As the years come, I'll do ways to get better and find obstacles around them. But right now, that's the biggest difficulty.
Well, yeah. Look, 4 months is not very long to have ramped up as quickly as you have. All technicians that experience early success usually have a network of managers and peers. You've kind of hit the ground running. If you run into a problem in the field, who's the first one you reach out to?
Tyler. Tyler. Yep, he's the first one I call, and he's always, if he ain't got an answer, then we'll call James up. If James ain't got an answer, then we'll check around with the other technicians. But majority of the time, he always got an answer. So why not call him? Every time you always get an answer, it always works. So
Awesome. Yeah, support is super important, especially early in a career. So super important question. If you could, we've got incoming trainees coming in every week in our organization. Based upon where you are right now in your career, and again, it being relatively early in your career, is there one piece of advice, if you were standing in front of a group of trainees next week, what one piece of advice would you give our incoming new trainees?
Confidence in front of the customer. You gotta have confidence when you talk to the customer. If not, the customer's gonna come on. I don't think this guy knows what he's doing as well as you just gotta be confident in yourself. Also, if you get a job and you can't figure it out in a new check, don't hesitate to call down. No, it's not bothering the other technicians. It saves you time during the day versus spending 2 hours, 3 hours trying to figure out something that you can easily call tech, and in 5 minutes you got the problem figured out. Reach out to your fellow teammates and technicians. They're there to help you.
Man, there's no better piece of advice, right? So, and that's often what we tell our trainees also is why would you sit there and be stuck for 2 hours when a 5-minute phone call could get you unstuck?
Yes.
So if you've ever listened to the podcast, almost every single interview that I've ever done involves a certain type of question. So you're about to be subject to my special question. You ready for this, Josh?
Yes, sir.
So being on the coast, are you a fan of seafood?
Yeah. Shrimp and catfish.
Catfish?
Yes. And catfish. My favorite.
So you live in Milton now. Is there where is the best place in Milton or the surrounding areas if I wanted to go get some catfish, other than your house, apparently?
Best place in Milton, I would say would be Ace's Restaurant. They do have good catfish and shrimp there, and then they do mullet. They do po' boys. They also have all you can eat Tuesdays and Thursdays. All catfish and shrimp, mullet. You can't eat that. The other place I would have to say is down in Cola, Jayco's, I think it's pronounced. I took my wife there on our last date, and we had
Well, man, looks like I've got a couple of new destinations to go. Josh, thank you so much for taking the time to let us know a little more about you and to get to know you better. to get some really good advice for our new trainees. It's really great to get a perspective of somebody that comes in that has taken such a positive, proactive approach to the job. And you know what? That attitude that you have, Josh, is making a difference in your performance. I promise you that. Half of this job when you first start is the attitude that you take to the job. It's your first tool in your tool belt. And you seem to have a sharp tool, my friend. So, Josh, thank you very much, and we'll let you get about your route.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you guys for having me. It was a blast.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for joining us, bud.
Vector systems are offline.
All right. Well, you know what I really loved from that? I loved the fact that, towards the end of the interview there, when you were asking the restaurant question, is that he talked about, and I don't know if Josh, if he has, children or what have you, but the fact that that date night was a priority with his significant other, and if I was to give any advice to those out there listening on, it's an instrumental component on making sure that you have the time necessary to show your significant other how much you love them, that you want to spend time with them. I can reflect back before my divorce, and I think it was we were so involved with the kids that we kind of separated from one another, and it's a regret that I carry to this day. So that was awesome hearing from a new technician, and to your point, sounded extremely positive.
What I really like about Josh is the fact that he is an active participant in the retail referral program, particularly with HughesNet, which, of course, you guys know will pay $150 for each successfully installed HughesNet retail referral. So,
right, is that a plug?
That's a cheap plug. Yes, indeed. Yes.
Sounds a little bit like a plug.
And here's more of that plug. You get $125 on every successfully installed dish retail referral.
But wait,
there's more. Yes. To do so, you have to call 877-643-3474. If it's HughesNet, press option 1 for Hughes, then press option 1 again for new HughesNet service. Now, if it's Dish, you're going to again call 877-643-3474. Press option number 2 for Dish, and then press option number 2 again for new Dish services.
John, that sounds a lot like a really good trivia question.
You're right.
You are right about that.
And with that being said, and that was an uncheap plug, man. That was too long to be considered a cheap plug, but valuable information for our folks out there. Because we do have a new process, right, John? We've had it for a few months now.
Yeah, it started back in June, and I got to say, on the HughesNet side, in particular, it's working out great. The feedback I'm getting from the technicians, the feedback I'm getting from Kevin Odermatt, who's our Hughes account manager. We listen to these calls. The technicians are following the process when they call. They're doing the handoff the right way, and it's working for us. We're doing just as well, if not better, with this new process as we were doing with the old process, especially on the closing percentage. So, guys, keep it up. Keep sending those leads to us and put that retail money back in your pocket. Hey, do we have time? I know we have our next guest coming up here for the game show.
He is on.
He's on right now.
He is on.
And
yes.
That's Kenny Jackson,
that
right?
Is Kenny,
Montgomery. Can I give a shout out very quickly, please, guys, to an anniversary shout out to a longtime veteran here at Satellites Unlimited. Man,
sure, go for it.
Okay, so want to wish Mr. Herb Gary out of Montgomery a very happy Satellites Unlimited anniversary. As of September 21st, it will be 16 years of incredible success here at Satellites Unlimited for Mr. Herb Gary. Thank you, Herb, for all you do for all of us here at Satellites Unlimited.
Herb.
Big Herb. Speaking of a technician that's been here for a very long time, not quite as long as Herb, but getting there. And one of my favorites within the organization, Kenny had spent some time, even coming over to the training facility, and we worked together, and Kenny's been in the role of FSM and technician. So Kenny, you out there, buddy?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. And how are you doing today, bud?
We're doing good, enjoying this last bit of cooler weather, I guess.
Last bit of colder weather or last bit of warmer weather?
Cooler weather. It seems to get hot again, man. We're in Alabama.
Hey, man, like to me, like when it got in the winter time, if I could see that the temperature was going to be at least 50, like it was going to get at least to 50, like I felt pretty good about the day. How about you, Kenny?
Oh yeah, that's always a good day as long as it's not raining with that 50.
That's right. And hey, again, it's just a credit to what our people do every single day, right? Like when I really think about, kind of the life of a technician, man, there's so many scenarios and situations to where, I get like, hey, going from job to job and have the autonomy to kind of approach the role how you want. Like, that's great. These are all great perks and being able to provide a great living for your family. But man, when I think about some of those obstacles in the form of just weather or crawl spaces and attics and critters and, maybe some houses that maybe aren't in the best condition that can pose some specific types of threats. I mean, there's just a lot out there. Kenny, what's your mindset going into each day, bud?
Well, I mean, you got to have an open mindset. I mean, this job I'm at right now, it's a dish mover, but I was here about 2 years ago and completely rebuilt the job on a trouble call for the previous tenant. And so it's easy this time. I mean, but you don't never know. I mean, you can go to a dish mover where you got to totally install it. You can go to one where you were there like 2 years ago and everything's perfect. So, but everything's there, and you're just kind of surprised at each house you get to.
Yeah, and you've seen a lot in your time, man. You were hired on January 29th, 2008. And, you're considered a leader in your respective location, the Montgomery office. You've gathered the accolades. You've had 7 Tech of the Months, 5 Tech of the Quarters. You've been to the Oscars. What advice would you give a newer technician starting out in his or her new career?
Man, just give it time. Don't try to come in and be the guy that's been here 15 or 16 or whatever years. Just take your time and make sure that while you're learning the job, you're learning the right way to do it. Because if you learn a shortcut, you're never going to stop doing that shortcut. You just got to make sure you're doing it the right way and get your speed and your proficiency up doing it the right way.
Gotcha. Great advice indeed, for sure, man. And so, hey, man, I tell you what, we posed a question to our team members last week, and we said, who is your favorite band? Who should we listen to? And if you would kind of outline to the audience, those submissions that you sent in for us, Kenny.
Well, I don't really enjoy like the mainstream music and everything. I listen to a lot of Jamie Johnson. He's from the Enterprise area. Then he moved up to Montgomery, so he's an Alabama guy, and he just seems like the real older country. And I don't know. It's just he does a concert in Montgomery every year, and I try to be at it every year when he's there because he brings a lot of lesser known people there with him, and he just gives them a showcase at his homecoming concert every year. I just really like what he does. I like his music. I like the way he sounds. And then another one, I guess you would call him Texas country, outlaw country, whatever. But it's Cody Jinks, and I like the songs he sings, and it's just, to me, it's a lot more real than everything you hear on radio now.
Yeah, so I did take a listen to Jamie Johnson, and while country is probably, I've already alluded to it earlier in the podcast, that it's probably my least favorite genre. However, I do like a lot of country. It's just my least favorite, right? And I listened to Jamie, and he just sounded like, you know, it was pure and soulful. It was somewhat reminiscent of who am I thinking of? Chris, help me out.
Stapleton.
Yeah, Chris Stapleton. And then when I looked at him, this guy's got a huge beard. You know, you look at like these artists are amazing too. So that, you know, Jamie Johnson got his start really in 2005 while he was doing music well before that. But I mean, really, I mean, he's 47 now. He was 30 years old when he really kind of got, you know, noticed big time.
If it looks like we were scared to death, like a couple of kids just trying to save each other, you should have seen it in color.
And then when you were talking about Cody Jinks, I have heard some Cody Jinks before, and I do like him. And I thought it was interesting. He's described as, you know, Kenny, you were talking about him being real. He's described as American outlaw country singer. I didn't know that was a category.
Well, I started on the whiskey pretty early this morning. That's alright. I was up all night, but I passed out before the sun came up.
I think they make a category up for everything now.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick everybody in this country or whatever now.
Yeah, but I definitely I appreciated the suggestion. I enjoyed listening to the music. You know, I had set a lot of these submissions up on my phone and took the time to listen to them on the way to work and from work. And so I really enjoyed your suggestions, and I think they're probably going to be a part of my repertoire going forward. Well, I tell you what, Kenny, hey, we brought you on to play a little bit of podcast trivia. What do you think about that, brother?
Man, we'll give it a try and see if I know anything.
You probably know more than you've probably forgotten more than I've known, man. You know?
I don't know, man. I learn something new every day out here.
That's true. It is one of the unique aspects of, you know, the technician role is that you're constantly learning, right? Like you could be doing this for 10 or 15 years and see something for the first time. Ain't that right, bud?
Yes, sir, it is.
Well, I tell you what, man. All right. Well, John P., Todd, it's time for a little bit of Satellites Unlimited podcast trivia.
Oh boy.
Are the buzzers ready, gentlemen?
Let's test them out and see.
Let's see.
Now, which one is which?
I always. That's the negative.
That's the negative? Okay, I think we got to switch because I'm the negative guy. You're the positive guy.
I don't know, not at all.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know about.
all right, I'll be the positive guy this time. Okay.
All right. So it sounds like our buzzer placement is in hand. We are ready to get started. Kenny, as we go along with these questions, they'll get a little bit harder as we go. They're based off of their tiered questions. So we have 5 tiers of questions. We always ask every single question, regardless of where in the line we may get a question incorrect. And by the way, nobody has gotten every single question right at this point. You could be the first guy, Kenny.
All right.
All right, here we go. Question 1. Name the manufacturer of our F connectors. And it's just a connector, right, guys? An F connector, it's a connector. So who makes our connectors?
Oh, man.
We usually have a presentation each year. We've had a guy from Minnesota. And then we had a guy a long time ago, back in the day, from Syracuse, New York. It's on the bag. PPC.
You got it.
Ding, ding. All right, man. All right. Moving on to tier 2, Kenny. All right. Hey, in order to get to where we're going, we need to start. And we did. And you got it correct. So here we go. Tier 2 question. What does ESOP stand for?
Oh, employee stock option program?
I think we're going to give that to you.
Yeah.
It's program. It's actually plan. employee stock ownership plan, but you said program, but you know what? I'm going to say close enough. All right.
Boing, boing.
All right. Next question, getting a little bit harder now. On our Nest cameras, what is the warranty on our Nest cameras?
It comes with a 1-year warranty, but when we install it, it kicks it out to 3 years because we're Google Pro installers.
Boom! That is good, man. I thought we may get stuck, but Kenny, you are cruising, brother. All right.
Oh, man,
This
that's
is usually where people stumble.
Yeah, but we've had people stumble on tier 3 questions. You know what I mean?
For some reason, question 4s are always hard.
Yeah, question 4 we do get a lot harder. Okay. Man, I got 3 to choose from here. I'm just trying to figure this out. We got, okay. What is the technical term for hooking up multiple switches? So, wow. Unreal. Let's give him a, this guy earned that. All right, trunking. For those that may not have heard, yeah, trunking is the technical term when we hook up multiple switches. Very good, Kenny. You make me proud, brother. All right, last and final question. We have not had, so I will say this, we have not had anybody get through question 1 through 4 to where we even had a shot at question 5.
Yep.
What's going on?
My buzzer is malfunctioning for some reason. I don't know why. It's, I'm boinging everywhere.
We gotta. All right, we're gonna have to. We're trying to figure out. We're having some technical difficulties. We're having a few swing, boing, boing issues over here. All right, so it reminds me of, you guys remember Wayne's World? Speaking of music, there was a lot of music featured in that movie. You remember swing? Anyways, all right. Tier 5 question. Here we go. Oh boy, and I got 2 of them. But you know what? I got one. I actually just wrote this morning. All right, Kenny. In previous episodes, we have sought out sponsors. So we have proposed people sponsor this program. And we've done this over the past couple episodes. Give us one of them.
You got me.
Huh? All right,
I'm
guys.
gonna say Poke.
Poke. They probably should be one. Guys, do we want to, before we buzz him wrong, he is the first contestant to get 1 through 4 absolutely correct. Did you want to give him a hint and maybe what the product could be?
Yeah, so it is a certain brand of battery.
And I Energizer.
What?
Oh man, gosh! I thought we were, because you know we had a water product, we had a breakfast biscuit product, we had a mental health service on the web product, and I thought the battery one.
Well, there's a certain number of batteries, and I even confused the Energizer Bunny with Duracell.
Yeah, it was Duracell, Kenny. It was Duracell.
Can we give him one more chance?
Well, Todd thought I was right. I mean,
well, yeah. No, I'm just not good with brand names.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're talking, this is the same guy that thought Duracell was represented by the bunny with the clappers.
Yep.
So on the last episode, he actually, we actually could have had a sponsorship, Kenny, but because Todd misrepresented the brand, they're completely out now. Yeah, they lodged a complaint. If I'm not mistaken. Well, I tell you what, Kenny, man. All right, guys. As far as the hat for Kenny, what are your thoughts? Are we sending him a hat in the mail or what? If it's going to me, you know what? Just to be able to say this to Kenny Jackson right now, I say give him a hat. And this is a secret code between Kenny Jackson and I, because we have quite a history, right?
Yes, sir, we do.
KJ, you ready for this?
Go ahead.
Green stick.
Greens did. Let's leave that out of it.
Secret code.
John P.
I
do
say-
you know do you know about the secret code?
I do not know about the secret code.
No,
Green
this-
stick.
Nobody knows.
I have no
but
idea.
Kenny Jackson and
All right.
myself.
Okay, well, we're gonna leave that there. John P.
I-
What are your thoughts on hat?
I vote that Kenny gets ahead.
All right, Kenny, we were going to send you a hat in the mail. You will see an email hitting your inbox at 11 o'clock for size and color, along with both of our other guests today, Mr. Michael Matthew and Josh Phillip. It's been an awesome day. Kenny, we hope you have an awesome day on the route today. Continue to do great work, sir, and thanks for joining us, big guy.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a good day.
See you,
You too,
Kenny.
buddy.
Hey, Satellites Unlimited employees, are you looking to make quick and easy money? If the answer is yes, then we have the deal for you. Here at Satellites Unlimited, you can earn money for every person you refer to work with us. All you need to do is have your candidate go to www.suidish.com and use your name when applying, and we will do the rest. It's quick and easy. We are an employee-owned company and want to welcome your referral into the family. So what are you waiting for? Start referring people today.
You're listening to the Satellites Unlimited podcast. Now, back to the show.
All right, guys. Hey, there's no time to spare here. We're moving right into our final guest of the episode, and it is Mr. Michael Matthew out of the Gainesville location. And I believe John P. is set to execute this wonderfully laid out interview.
Vector systems are offline.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is our privilege and honor today to have with us as a special guest on the Satellites Limited podcast, Mr. Michael Matthew out of the Gainesville office. However, Michael, before we begin the interview, two things for you. First of all, you prefer Mike or Michael?
Mike is fine.
Mike, okay, Mike. And Mike, will you allow me one moment, please, to take a sip of my Publix brand spring water?
All right.
I'm doing it right now.
I love the, all right. You actually fit that into the interview. That
Oh
was
my
just
gosh,
great.
this is good water. Let me tell you, Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. All right, now we're ready for the interview. And Mike, I know that in the state of Florida, because I'm from Florida. I'm from Tarpon Springs, a little bit south of where you're at. There's a lot of Publix supermarkets out there. Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Publix happens to be an ESOP as well.
Yeah, that's right. You're all right about that. Yes, indeed. But we're not here to talk about Publix, so we're here to talk about you. And my gosh, you've got quite a few accolades here. And you've been in the business with Dish since September of 2009. So a total of 13 years of service between DRS, the former company you worked for, and now Satellites Unlimited. Also, too, you served in the Navy for 4 years. So we definitely thank you for your service there. We're going to talk more about some of these accomplishments that you've had with Satellites Unlimited. But I guess my first question is, I see that you were born in North Carolina. Whereabouts in North Carolina were you born?
I was born in Marion, North Carolina.
Now, where is Marion in proximity to, say, like a Charlotte?
It's on the west side of the state.
Gotcha. Okay. But you grew up in Michigan. So I'm curious, what took you from North Carolina to Michigan? And then what eventually brought you down to, I guess, Live Oak, Florida? Is that where you're at right now?
Well, I'm in Lake City, but yes, sir, I live in Live Oak.
Okay.
Let's see. So I was born in Marion, North Carolina, and then my mom and I we moved to Michigan to be with my father. He was working up there at General Motors, and then. Let me see. He retired in 2001, and both he and my mom came down to Florida. And then in 2004, I moved to Florida to be closer to my folks.
I know that there's a lot of transplants you get from people who moved down from New York, New Jersey. I myself moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Florida. Michigan as well. A lot of folks from Michigan that moved down to Florida and call Florida their home. So, how do you enjoy living in Florida?
Florida's very nice. I really enjoy the weather down here. It's much more different than the weather in Michigan. Haven't had to deal with any snow.
Yeah, that's one thing that I never missed was the snowfall. And, really here in Alabama, though, we don't deal with that often either. I mean, every once in a while we'll get a brief or threat of a snowstorm, but nothing that really accumulates too much, at least not in this area of Birmingham. So let me ask you, too, your time in the Navy, you worked as an electrician. Is that how you learned to become an electrician?
Yes, sir. Went through schooling there. A lot of hands-on, a lot of mentoring as well throughout my time in the service. So, but yeah, basically, I've always had an electronics background. When I was younger, I would take my toys apart, figure out how they worked. So that got me right into engineering, and it pretty much went from there.
So that's very interesting. I want to ask you then, so what toys did you take apart?
One in particular, I had an F-14 Tomcat. It's a fighter pilot jet that the Navy uses, and it's got a variable sweep wing, which means that it can move its wings from a stationary position all the way back. And I took the whole thing apart because I wanted to know what would make it work. And there was gears and stuff inside, and motors and whatnot. And I was able to put it back together and continue to play with it. But my mom, she would always tell me, "Why are you taking your toys apart? I bought you that toy for a reason." I'm like, I'm just interested in how it works.
Wow, that's very interesting. I would take stuff apart, but could never get it back together again. And my parents would yell at me because of it. So, but anyway, though, so when you were in the Navy, you had the opportunity to travel a lot. In fact, to 14 different countries over a period of 4 years. Do you have any stories or experiences that you can share that really stand out?
Yeah, I've got a couple. My first duty station, I was stationed in Sasebo, Japan, and I spent about 9 months over there. So the first week or so, it was, a little bit of a introduction to the culture and, their traditions and whatnot. One of the really cool things that I got to do when I was over there is I went grass skiing. They have AstroTurf mountains, and they spray them down with water, and you pretty much hydroplane over top of the AstroTurf. That's one particular experience, which was really cool. Probably one of the nicest places that I went to was Singapore. Singapore, in the subways, they have it outlined on the billboards and stuff. It's a $500 fine if you eat or drink anything in the subway. Very, very nice looking city. Probably one of the cleanest places that I've ever been to. And finally, I got a chance to go to Bali, Indonesia. And in Bali, the exchange rate was 1,000 to 1. So it was like 1,000 of their dollars to one of ours. So whenever I went there, I was pretty much a millionaire.
Oh, wow. I tell you what, I'm sure that's just a handful of the stories you could probably share if we had more time to do so. It sounds like one thing's for sure, that you might be the most fascinating person at any event or party you would attend, with all the stories you have regarding all the countries you visited. Would that be a fair assessment?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've got tons of stories if we had more time.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to hear some more maybe later on, some other time here. But I want to ask you right now, though, I know you've been with us now. I guess since I want to say take ownership, of the DRS division down there. May 29th, 2019, I believe, is when that transition took place. So you've been with us quite a few years, and when you were a technician, you earned the Tech of the Month championship on 2 occasions. You're also a one-time Tech of the Quarter winner. Of course, now you're back in the role of an FSM, Field Service Manager. So I want to ask you, Mike, how did your time as a technician help you to prepare you for a leadership role as a Field Service Manager? And then conversely, how has your experience in management helped you with developing and providing support to the technicians?
Well, as a technician, you really have to have a lot of patience because every customer that we go to is different than the last one. And there's a lot of diversity out there. So having patience, being a technician, and just seeing a lot of the scenarios that were out there, the hands-on experience that I got really prepared me for the management role. I really pride myself in my position, and I mean, for me, I don't want to come to work and be mediocre. I always pride myself in my work, and that's really what has helped me to excel in my position, as well as go into management.
And unquestionably, that's a great philosophy and approach to have in your role as a field service manager. Let's take a little bit of a departure now to a more of a fun question, because we had the podcast submission. Who is your favorite band? Who should we listen to? And tell us about your favorite band, Parkway Drive. I want to hear all about Parkway Drive.
All right, so Parkway Drive, I actually found them while I was listening to Pandora radio. I'd never heard them before listening to Pandora, but it really helped me broaden my horizons as far as music goes. And I'm a really big fan of music. I like every type of genre that's out there, but really rock and roll is my forte. That's what I go to. So Parkway Drive, they're a band from Australia, and it's basically just a bunch of friends that they would get together, and they would surf a lot, and then after they would go surfing, they would play music together. So a couple facts about Parkway Drive. They've got 6 top 10 albums, and that's nationwide. They've got 6 gold albums as well. They just recently released a new album. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but it just came out like a couple days ago. I have had the chance to see them in concert, both in 2016 and in 2018. I go to a concert called Welcome to Rockville. It used to be in Jacksonville, Florida, and then they've recently moved it down to Daytona, Florida. It's a 4-day concert. It's something that I reward myself with every year. That's my vacation from work. So all the hard work I put in here, I decided, hey, time for me to take some vacation, spend 4 or 5 days at a rock concert, and it's a real experience for sure. You see a lot of different things out there.
And no question about that. And so the Daytona concert, did they play at the Ocean Center in Daytona, or was it a smaller venue?
No, actually, so the past 3 years they've had it at the Daytona International Speedway.
Oh, okay. I am familiar with that. Yes, indeed. So let me ask you also, in kind of closing here, Mike, what is the best advice you can give technicians still in their first 6 to 12 months with Satellites Unlimited?
Yeah, I would recommend that they just follow the best practices that we have put in place. These are things that have been tested and have been proven to work. Also, take your time whenever you're out there. Be patient. Stick with it. SUI is a very rewarding career. Whenever I started, I just needed a job, but I found out that I was pretty good at it, and I've stuck with it. And like you had spoke about earlier, September made 13 years for me. So it's a really rewarding career. It's allowed me to do a lot of things in my life, in my personal life, and just stick with it. That's about it.
Well, Mike, that's very good advice indeed. And we thank you so much for the 13 years of tremendous success, and so proud to have you with us here at Satellites Unlimited. We wish you the very best in the future as an FSM in the Gainesville office. Michael, thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you.
Your systems are offline.
Wow. So, it's got to make you feel good. And John, thank you for the interview, and Todd for yours as well. And it's got to make you feel good to have folks like Mike in the position that they're in a leadership position within our organization.
Absolutely. And we've got a lot of good ones. Mike is just a prime example of how we support our people and how, the good advice that we give. Sometimes you just got to listen to those peers at times, but our managers are what really, especially because most of our managers started out as peers, right? Well, all of them.
Yeah.
And so the good thing about, because my world is tech development, right? And so it makes it extremely convenient to have a group of individuals managing our technicians who at one point were technicians. And Mike is an excellent prime example of how that translates into good management.
You can hear how professional, polite, personable Mike is. You heard that on this call today. Without question, this is a young man who leads by example, and sets the right example here at Satellites Unlimited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, hey, I tell you what, so we have our guests wrapped up, but we're not done with tech recognition at this point, because we've mentioned it throughout the episode. We sent out a question. We always have stories from the field, right? It's one of our favorite segments because we're able to share personal testimonials from our folks. And, it allows us to delve into what their interests are and allows us to gain some insight into the people that they are. This segment is brought to you by Dapper Dan. Vintage look for the modern man. I don't know. Are any of you guys Dapper Dan men?
I used to be.
Yeah, I really have a hard time thinking that John didn't at some point have a tin of Dapper Dan in his back pocket.
What is Dapper Dan anyway?
So Dapper Dan's a pomade.
It's
hair product. And they advertise. I will say they
Okay.
advertise a medium shine.
Yes.
You don't want high gloss.
Now there's some skepticism to that. I've read some reviews, but again, we're attempting to gain sponsors here,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So,
So would you recommend it for my hair?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different look, right?
If we get a sponsorship, I absolutely
Absolutely.
recommend it.
All right.
For every
He's
one
the
of us.
only one that could probably pull
He's
off the
yeah.
pomade look between us two, because my jeans for hair are awful. You see that?
We
see what this is?
Well, they can't see it at home.
This
Grant,
is called
because
hanging on to
audio.
the hair that's left. And have you heard of a comb over? I have a comb down, brother. So,
But we get that call. John, looks like you're a Dapper Dan man.
yeah, exactly.
I'm ready for the challenge.
So, with that being said, I tell you what, let's Dapper Dan, we'd love a sponsorship. So, let's move into our testimonials here, our stories from the field.
It's time for Technician Stories from the Field.
And I literally had her running out the door as I'm driving away. And I got to give her credit. She kept up for a good while and at least ran a block and a half.
Huge response. Music is important to everybody, as we said earlier in the podcast, and so the thing is, it was a relatively short question, so we didn't get we got some pretty succinct answers from most of them. So we'll just dive right into these. James Penland, he's actually still in training right now, so. Looks like that podcast is hitting our techs earlier and earlier every single week, and I think many people reflected what he said in the very beginning, because it's hard to say, right? It's actually how I opened the podcast with that question from you, Grant. It's really hard to say, but he loves to go to concerts, and so he's seen a few people that I've actually seen. 311.
Yep.
I've seen 311 in concert.
Seen them twice.
Small venue. Incubus, never been to see them.
One of the best bands live I've ever
Is
seen.
it really?
Absolutely is.
Deftones.
Saw them with Incubus down in New Orleans.
Tool.
Wanted to see Tool, but I've never seen Tool. No.
And another Maynard band, Pussifer.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them.
New metal alt rock. I think he was.
Yeah,
that's just
kind of his genre.
Yeah,
his
the genre. But they're all his favorites. So that's James Penland from Birmingham. Thank you for that.
I'll tell you, the Deftones, Chino Marino, when I saw him, it was really bad. He had evidently had a few too many drinks before getting on stage.
Right.
But Incubus made up for it, and they actually did a live set of covering Nirvana.
Right.
So they did kind of like a Nirvana medley, and it was amazing. But it was crystal clear, almost like you were watching the video, listening to them on YouTube or MTV. Is MTV still a thing?
Yeah, but I don't know that they play
There's
music
like
anymore.
4 or 5 of them now.
I think it's more of a reality show than
I think VH1 kind of plays the best of the 80s music videos.
So, all right. So what do we got next?
Come on, Johan.
So I've got Jesse Jones out of Birmingham.
We
And
had
Jesse,
him on the last episode.
We did. Oh, he was on the last.
That's
what
right.
a great guest he was,
Tuscaloosa
too.
Bowling Hall of
Yes,
Fame.
indeed. So he has 2 of his favorites. One of which is one of my favorites, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Hello.
And also Guns N' Roses. And Earth, Wind, and Fire, I guess, could be applicable to Motown, but also I think of it as disco. And here's one of my favorite songs for Earth, Wind, and Fire. Got to get you into my life. Oh, yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, and I was looking into Earth, Wind, and Fire too, and so they advertise Earth, Wind, and Fire as pop, soul, jazz, fusion.
Yeah.
But they're not. And see, I always thought Earth, Wind, and Fire was Motown.
Yeah.
But it says, and this was enlightening to me, is not Motown, as it was not recorded by the Motown family of records.
Yeah.
But I always considered Earth, Wind, and Fire Motown. And you said Guns N' Roses, right?
Guns N' Roses, which, I listened to Guns N' Roses before myself, but I tell you what, man, Earth, Wind, and Fire I love. This was 1978. This was a big disco hit, 1978. That was the disco era, so.
Now,
but anyway.
Back then, were you kind of wearing like the bell bottoms and stuff back then?
I was, and, I was in that era, let's see, I would have been 13 years old, I guess, and, I had a buddy of mine that was also in the disco, and what we would do is we had the satin shirts. We had the disco. Yeah, we were still in middle school, and what we would do is we'd wear the satin shirts. I had like this purple satin shirt. I would wear.
How far down did it go?
It went pretty far down. Yes, indeed. It was the 70s. Come on now.
Travolta-esque.
So we also had a friend of ours who was in high school, and they would do the high school dances. And, we weren't supposed to be at these high school dances. We're middle school kids, but he would sneak us into the high school dances.
Okay.
And we'd wear our disco stuff at the high school dances.
Look at that.
I can see John
sneaking into the dance.
So that was pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I can see John and his friend practicing the routine.
Yeah, were you doing the?
Oh yeah, man, we were doing the
swinging
John
that leg out
Travolta
there.
stuff. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Saturday Night Fever. So we were definitely into it.
It's too bad we're not on video right now.
Oh,
we could make him do the walk.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. And like, did you ever venture up from Pennsylvania up to like Studio 54, or were you a little too young?
Yeah, a little too young.
A little too young. Okay. Now, I will say with Guns N' Roses, I saw them one time. It was a magical experience I shared with my daughter. The concert was down in Camping World Stadium in Orlando. I want to say this was 2017, maybe. Could have been 2016. And I thought it might be a nightmare because, Axl Rose in the early 90s, he was notorious for showing up late. He'd be inebriated. Sometimes they'd have to cancel because of his shenanigans. Top notch, man. Top notch. He was there. He was present in the moment. And so it was a superb concert. Oh, what do you guys got next on the docket?
Hey, now Dustin Davis sent us a submission. I'm not familiar with this band, Altus. He says they're a great band to listen to and relate to. But beware, it's rated PG-13. So don't listen to that with your kids present.
Yeah, no, and
not the first run anyway.
Yeah, I pulled up Altus, and I'm trying to remember what song I listened to. Man, I just don't remember.
Wait,
what
it's
it was.
Atlas.
Atlas, yeah, Atlas.
Jesus, why did I say Altus?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
dyslexia with the first two
Atlas,
letters.
but with a U.
Yeah.
In all fairness, it doesn't have that AS, right? I know what song I listened to. I can't. It's so he says it's PG-13.
It's rated R.
It's rated R. I mean, just the title of this song, and I obviously I can't even. You can see it right here. See?
Oh yeah.
You're a. Here's
You're
what
a
I can do.
blanking
You're a
blank.
blanking blank.
Hope you know that.
Hope you know that blank. Now, I will tell you, I listened to the song, and it wasn't bad. And it's a breakup song. He's essentially talking about a relationship gone bad, and evidently she stepped out on the relationship. But I actually did enjoy the song. So
I'm gonna have to catch up.
So anyways, leave that. But it's definitely not PG-13. All right, what do you got? Next one.
All right, so I've got submission from Chris Banks out of Meridian, and his favorite band is Ghost. That was a great movie, by the way. Ghost.
Well, yeah.
Patrick Swayze,
Debbie
Debbie Moore. It was a really good movie.
Absolutely.
Circa 1990, by the way. But anyway, this is about the band, not the movie. So
Right.
Chris states that his wife and he actually went to see them in Huntsville recently, I think this past Friday, and highly recommend their latest album, Impera. It's full of big, loud stadium rock. Really loved the concert, full of fire and lasers. It was a real rock show, like Alice Cooper or Kiss come again. I like Alice Cooper.
Did you? You did like Alice Cooper and Kiss?
Yeah,
so
some
what was
stuff,
your
so.
thoughts on the get up? So with the eyeliner, well, in Alice Cooper's case, the eyeliner and the crazy outfits versus, kind of Kiss being all dressed up.
And Kiss was all about the show, man. They were all about the lights, the action, just the theater of the whole thing. And that was mid 70s, right? Mid-late 70s.
It was, yeah.
So, and the marketing genius behind Kiss as well. I mean,
Yeah.
even today, the millions of dollars they're making on merchandising is incredible.
So have you seen what Ghost looks like?
I have not seen what.
So
Ghost
he
looks like.
compares them to Kiss and Alice Cooper for a reason. Here, take a look right here,
Okay.
John, if you can. So that's what they kind of look like there. So they're made to kind of look like Ghost. And I've read some articles on the lead singer, and he's known as somewhat of a musical genius. They're actually a Swedish rock band.
Yeah.
And I listened to a song called Spillways, and to me they sounded a little like Linkin Park, for those who know Linkin Park. Yeah. So I actually enjoyed that song. So, but yeah, they definitely have a unique get up, for sure. So, pretty theatrical, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Ghost.
Ghost.
Not the movie.
Not the movie.
Although maybe that should be
I
their
recommend-
extended name. Ghost.
Ghost, not the movie. Right.
In Sweden they probably. Ghost was probably
Oh, you would think.
the movie.
I think this band is pretty, I will say the song I listened to was good.
Was it?
Yeah, it was good.
Well, I like
It
Linkin
was.
Park too.
So,
They sounded similar.
yeah. Here.
Oh, no ads.
It's got the little vocals in the background.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix between Linkin Park and ABBA. All those Nordic bands.
So, yeah. Anyways, there you go.
Woo-hoo.
It's a little taste. All right.
Hey, Trevor Allen.
Trevor Allen.
Yeah, he's got a very specific taste in music. And I want to. Did I not hear? Did Mike, when we interviewed him, talk about Rockville?
Yes, they were talking about the same
music
festival.
venue, right? Yeah. So, Trevor apparently loves to go to that as well. His favorite concert experience would be 3-day festivals. Rockville, the same one that Mike was referencing.
Yeah.
and the Louder Than Life Festival. I'm not familiar with that one. They have 3 stages and music playing on all 3 for 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours straight. So it's like a marathon rock festival.
Love rock festivals. Been to quite a few.
Birmingham used to have.
We used to have the
stages.
Crawfish Bowl.
We
We used to have Shippers Crawfish Bowl. We used to have city stages. Absolutely. I was down and saw a ton of artists.
I saw Dr.
at
John
those venues.
At City
saw
Stages.
Ludacris at city stages. I'll tell you guys that. Let me tell you. Here's one of the stories I was going to share. Seeing that we're talking about music festivals, so up in upstate New York, there was this alternative rock station called. It was, I think it was 94 point something K-Rock, right? So they had what was called the K-Rockathon. The way they advertised it was 15 bands for $15, right? And so, so this one year, I want to say, I can't remember if it was 97 or 98. You know what? I think it was 97. And bands that I've seen there have been Third Eye Blind, Smash Mouth, Eve 6, Our Lady Peace, Stabbing Westward, Goo Goo Dolls, Better Than Ezra, Cowboy Mouth, very popular alternative bands back in the day. So anyways, I met this girl at a party, right? This is like I graduated or whatever. I went to a graduation party, met this beautiful young lady at this party, and we talked on the phone. You know, this was prior to like smartphones. This is prior to, this is,
We had to actually hold it.
Right,
to
you had
your
to
ear
actually
and
hold the
have
phone, right. So we arranged to meet outside her work when her shift got done and go up to the Rockathon. So I get a buddy of mine to drop me off, and I'm waiting outside. It's a supermarket called Hannaford. She shows me up, man. Shows me up. I'm there, and I'm like, man, I got to get to this concert. Like, enough of her, right? Like, she's already kind of, proven her worth to me. Like, but I got to get to this concert. So I'm scanning the parking lot in desperation, right? And I'm looking around, and I noticed this Ford Bronco with a K-Rockathon bumper sticker on the back window. So I went over there. It's a couple of college kids. I said, hey, are you going to K-Rockathon? They said, yeah, we're meeting a few of our friends up at a gas station. It's at a big horse track where this event is. They said, we're meeting up at a gas station up there. They have a U-Haul truck full of kegs and cases.
Oh, right.
I said, and they offered me a ride. I was like, wow, this is great. So I get up there, and then, we meet them at the gas station. We park, in the parking lot. They charged me $5 to really drink all I wanted. And yes, I was underage. I guess I'm open to that on air now.
But you were drinking milk, right?
I wish I was drinking milk, John. It was not the case, unfortunately. And so I hung out with a bunch of college kids I didn't know until I ran into some buddies that had come by. And so that's kind of I found a random ride at a supermarket because of perseverance, friends.
Perseverance.
So, you can accomplish whatever your heart desires through perseverance and due diligence.
And boldness.
So definitely bold there. So what do you got?
Well, we just had Kenny Jackson from Montgomery on earlier, right, from a game show. So this is his submission. I think he spoke a little bit about this already.
We've covered Cody Jinks and Jamie
Johnson.
Yes.
Homegrown Bama Boy and Cody Jinks. I've heard of these folks before, so
I like them both. They're both two good submissions. Go. What do you got for the next one?
So our briefest response came from Matthew Pritchett. 2 words: Avenged Sevenfold.
Avenged Sevenfold, great band. Love Avenged Sevenfold. Saw them in 2017 with Metallica over in Atlanta. They are amazing if you haven't heard of them. Try the song Hail to the King if you've never heard of them.
There's an implied subtext here that says "Nuff said."
Yeah, great band. Love Avenged Sevenfold. Nightmare, great song.
So how about Remington Hood? Out of Grenada. And Remington likes the Dave Matthews Band. Says they're hands down phenomenal band with their live shows sounding almost identical to their recorded tracks. Now that speaks volumes right there.
They do. And the cool thing about Dave Matthews Band, I've seen them 4 times. All right, last time I saw them was at Tuscaloosa Amphitheater in 2015, and they, matter of fact, so they have I don't know if you know anything about Dave Matthews Band, but they have a saxophone player, they have they have a violinist, John, that goes nuts on the stage, and they'll just alter a song and just jam out. So a song that would normally be 4 or 5 minutes could be 9-10 minutes long, because they incorporate a bunch of jamming out with these awesome musical instruments. So I'm going to share another story with you. This is my second story. The first concert I ever went to, this is 1997. I want to say it was April, May 1997. This is in upstate New York. Was Dave Matthews, and it was at a venue called Saratoga Springs. They call it SPAC. All right. And so I go with 6 other guys, and we are at a campsite, and we're having a good time, throwing the frisbee around, hacky sack, those types of things throughout the day. There was some drinking throughout the day or what have you. And so I was one of 2 that did not have a ticket to this concert. I just wanted to go and have a good time. We were going to go camping, all good, right? So those guys, 5 of the 7 leave to go to the concert. Me and my buddy Scott, we stay back, and we're sitting there at the campsite. We're like, man, we really wish we were at the concert. So we drive over to the venue, and we're like, okay, how can we get in, right? We don't have a ticket. So we run into another group of friends. We just ran into them that attended our school, a guy and a girl that dated, and they wanted to do the same thing. They didn't have tickets, but they wanted to get in the concert. Well, you got to understand, this venue, it's an outside amphitheater, but there's only 3 bridges that cross this large moat to get over to the venue. So we're like, okay, let's get up to the fence. So we crossed a moat, all right? We go up to the fence, and it's a 12-foot fence all the way around. And there's a security guard about every, I don't know, maybe about every 20 to 30 feet or so, in a yellow shirt. So we're kind of scanning the outside of the fence, and there's a bunch of people thinking the same thing we are, right? So, and we're seeing people try to scale the fence, and they're getting busted by the security guards or whatever. Well, we got to this one section of where the fence came down to 10 foot instead of 12, and was over by like some sort of substation, maybe like some sort of power station at the venue. And we're like, this is our best chance. And there was a group of about 30 kids already there. And the plan was, if all of us go together, they can't get all of us, right? This is young man thinking right here, right? So we all scale the fence together. I make it, and it's like a frantic run at that point. Everybody's kind of scattering, and you're seeing security guards going everywhere. There's just kids going everywhere, right? And like, I'm free. So I'm running, and this group of hippies that were sitting around in a circle, they were like, hey, come here, Liam. So I sat in their circle, and I'm looking back now. I'm like looking around first, and I'm like, okay, I'm safe. And I'm looking around at everything that's happening. I'm seeing kids tackled to the ground. I see that girl and guy, that couple that I saw that went to my school. She's hanging from the fence from her hoodie, and he's got to run back and go get her. And they get away. And then I'm like, where's Scott? Where's Scott? My buddy, right? And so I'm looking around, and I see Scott. He gets tackled by a security guard, and he gets up, and he's still running. And then here comes another security guard that tackles him to the ground. He gets taken down like 3 times. He finally, I see them taking him away. And I'm like, man. So I end up finding my buddies, the group. By the way, 2 of them were passed out from alcohol consumption during the day. Heck, they could have given us our tickets and saved us the worry. Right. And just a little bit later, Scott, we see him walking over to us, and he's all bruised up. He's got scratches all over his face. And we're like, man, what happened? Like, I saw you get taken out. He goes, man, they walked me to the gate, and the front security guard took one look at my face. He said, man, just go in there. So anyways, that's kind of a story. We went back to the campsite that night. It rained a little bit. I started a fire with my socks. College kids came and joined a bunch of high school kids over at our campsite. They played the guitar around the fire. It was a very pleasant evening. But that's my first concert experience. I guess that's what got me hooked, right?
I would say so. Yes, indeed.
A little bit of chaos.
So anyways, I know it was kind of long, but I thought it was a a value-added share.
No, yeah.
Dave Matthews Band. Definitely
Like, again,
recommend them.
Tenacity, your friend Chris.
Scott. Yeah, tenacity. That's right. That's the lesson learned.
Memory, I have none, apparently. So, Marvin Williams.
Williams.
Quite a contributor. He just wanted to give a shout out to the band Silent Trust from Biloxi, Mississippi. He actually used to play lead guitar with them back in the old days. He was really excited to see they finally released a full studio album. They're available on Spotify, so there's a shameless plug by Marvin. He's always known that they had what it takes to be hugely successful. Some sad news, however. It's difficult. He had a hard time writing this because Andrew, who's the face of the band, heart and soul of the band, received some life-changing news. He lost 100% of his vision following complications with an illness. So he would like to encourage everybody to check him out, spread the word. He knows that they can use the support from him.
Yeah, I did take a listen to them too. They sounded good. Into the Storm is a very popular song. So yeah, thoughts and prayers with the lead singer of Silent Trust, Marvin's friend, right?
Absolutely. Well, here's one from Pierre Goldsmith out of Monroe. And Pierre is doing a great job for us, by the way, with used retail referral sales. Oh my gosh, yes, we definitely appreciate that. Pierre loves to listen to a little bit of everything, but states that Oliver Tree seems underrated. Oliver Tree. I've never heard of Oliver Tree.
Oliver Tree. So yeah, I listened to him, and it's some. I can't describe what the genre is or what I was listening to, although I did like it. It's considered alternative indie. So I listened to Cowboys Don't Cry, Life Goes On, and When I'm Down. They got popular with the When I'm Down track in 2017. But I actually recommend them. But evidently the guy has like a comedic background.
Right.
And but I thought the music was good, actually. So it was a good suggestion by Pierre.
Yo, we got another vote for Earth, Wind, and Fire. The only repeat up at this point.
Yeah,
I think,
which is surprising, right?
Yeah, I think Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No, I'm just saying
strong.
That it was the only
was the
repeat.
only one. Yeah.
I would have thought that we had more.
That came from Drake McCants. So Drake, thank you. He actually got to see them in Huntsville years ago, and they still sound amazing.
See, John, you could have seen Earth, Wind, and Fire in Huntsville and relived.
Yep.
Maybe. I bet you that silk shirt would probably fit today.
I don't think so. That
you
was
don't think so?
No, 1978. I don't.
No.
So not sure if we could locate that. If anybody knows where John P's silk shirt is,
purple,
yeah,
purple silk shirt, please
silk, yes.
Contact us at SUI podcast
at SUI-dish.com.
Why can I never get that? Again, memory issues. Go ahead.
It was a beautiful shirt. I wish I still had it.
I can only imagine. I wish you had it on now, John.
Me too.
Yeah, because you don't have the SUI podcast shirt on.
I do not, as we've already
spoken
about earlier in the program.
Shots
so
fired.
Is it my turn now? Okay,
Yeah,
so we've got so this next submission is from Kyle Newen, the general manager of Grenada Tupelo, and Kyle is a 90s music kind of a guy, very fond memories of Nirvana. So he likes Nirvana, let's see, and also I think also noted here the White Buffalo, never heard of them. Foo Fighters,
yeah,
have heard of them. I like Foo Fighters
there
too.
There you go, John P. Foo Fighters.
And Tom McDonald, so there you have it.
Yeah, Tom McDonald, rap artist, and then he had Dax on there, right? Dax, yeah. So I listened to all those. Blackberry Smoke was interesting. Southern rock group. I listened to Ain't Much Left of Me. And then White Buffalo was actually recommended by two folks. One person who I don't think we've gotten to yet. Who was just, it was Kyle was just covered, right?
We just covered Kyle.
Okay,
I have one more, another Grenada person.
Yeah, you
but-
might as well just go, because they actually recommended some of the same folks.
Yes, they
ironically.
did. So, and
White Buffalo.
I have Jonathan Pryor.
Go for it, man. Go for
Mr. Pryor,
It's your turn.
Yes, last
Yeah,
week.
so here's an interesting thing, and this is I've always thought, because when you hear certain songs, John or you, Grant, it puts you in a very specific place, right? Like you remember where you heard that song. There are memories that go along with certain songs that you hear, right? And I think everybody has a song that reminds them of somebody or some place where they might have first heard the song, and it just links forever to that place, right, or to that situation. And Jonathan kind of alludes to that as well. He loves a ton of music. It's hard for him to pinpoint one. He loves old country, new country, rap, classical, disco, metal, pop, classic church hymns.
Nice.
I mean, all over the
Love
place.
some of the classic church.
But he does suggest one. When he goes mud riding in his 97 Honda 300 4x4, it's called My Neighbors by Big Smoke.
Yes.
It reminds him of the old me before he quit drinking.
Yeah, I listened to My Neighbor's Big Smoke, and the video was pretty interesting. It featured a bunch of just random folks and out in some country venues,
right,
singing the words to the song essentially. So very down to earth. It's got him playing music on the front porch.
Awesome.
So my last one.
Oh, by the way, with Big Smoke too, is interesting. Have you ever heard of? He's known as country rap musician.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that? A country rap.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, country rap.
I think there's a few songs that have hit me.
Is that?
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
Is that like Georgia, Florida line?
They would be country. They would be more like country pop.
Every once
versus
in a while,
country
you'll hear
rap.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like rap and country together. So take Tupac and George Strait and put them into somebody, and that's country rap.
George Strait now. George Strait.
Yeah, you like George Strait, class. A lot of ladies like George Strait, do they not?
They do. They also like the Georgia, Florida line, but I don't.
Yeah, Georgia, Florida line.
I don't
yeah.
really care for this music myself.
No,
It's
okay.
though, but I tell you what.
So you're talking about the literal Georgia, Florida.
Yeah, isn't that the
Yeah, you don't like that.
the two guys? No,
section of the country.
No, I love that section of the country. No, I'm talking about the band, the group, whatever you want to call it.
But you said not the music so much?
The music. I don't care for the music. Yeah,
But you like the guys.
No, I don't.
You like those guys?
No, I don't like those guys or their music. So, no, let me rephrase that. I personally have nothing against those two guys.
If those guys were actually on the Florida Georgia line, would those two things negate each other?
Listen, I'm sure they're nice guys. I'm nothing against them personally. It's just their style of music.
Well, you
Right.
You
That's what I'm
okay. You know what? We'll never get a sponsorship. Either the state of
They seem like very nice young men, though. Let me just say that. The Georgia Florida line. They are talented. Yes, they are. Who am I to criticize them? Come on now. I mean, I have no musical talent whatsoever. So I've got. May I continue now? Okay, here we go. So here we have as our my final submission here from Mr. John Kirk, the Grenada Field Service Manager, and John's got a wide variety of tastes.
He's a music aficionado.
He really isn't a music aficionado. So he likes hip hop, Tom McDonald or Dax. For rock, it is Blackberry Smoke. I think I've heard of them before. Country, Aaron Lewis.
Oh yeah, Aaron Lewis is doing. He used to do rock. Now he does country.
Yes, folk. He likes the White Buffalo, and he also likes disco. The Bee Gees. And this is one of my favorite songs from the Bee Gees. You Should Be Dancing, 1976.
You actually should have a purple
Nice.
satin shirt on right now.
Maybe I should. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go to the thrift store after the show's over and find myself a purple satin shirt and come in next week wearing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
make sure it's not buttoned and tied.
Yeah.
Don't button it. Tie it at the bottom.
With a long necklace.
Yeah, with a long neck.
With a big
Yeah,
logo
the
or something.
long
Yeah,
imitation
medallion.
gold medallion, right? Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. And the big hair.
Yeah, it
right?
reminds
Yeah.
me of like Austin Powers. You ever watch those?
Oh, love Austin
Yeah,
Powers.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, behave. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
The first two I liked. I never saw the third one.
That's his second Mike Myers reference.
Yeah, it is.
That's right. Yeah, we did the Greensboro deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's speaking of Mike Myers, super talented guy.
Yes,
He is.
When you
Yes.
think about Shrek and Austin Powers, like all the characters and just the imagination.
Got to start on Saturday Night Live.
Not to be mistaken with Saturday Night Fever.
That's right.
Wow. The connection's here. I think
There's a connection, though. Yeah.
That's Gaia.
You know?
What I haven't heard mentioned yet, and I don't think we got a submission for this, is I haven't heard anybody mention beatboxing.
Yeah.
So John, back in the early '80s, John.
Is that like Stomp?
No.
No.
Well, you're ruining it because I was going to make you beatbox. But I think
You've never heard of beatboxing?
I think I've heard of it. I'm not sure what it is.
You're like doing like crazy beats, and like there's guys that literally they can sing a song with their mouth, like no lyrics.
Okay, I got it now. Okay.
And do sounds. Yeah.
Okay. But started in the late '80s, early '90s.
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure.
Lots of good submissions.
Lots of great submissions, and you know, I think that, like, you know, when we're talking about like some of Trevor Allen's, his post was long. Like there was a lot of bands that he recommended. I did go through it, and I actually found some that I would be like I'll definitely be continuing to listen to. Like he mentioned like Metallica, who I love, and stuff like that, and Breaking Benjamin. But I listened to this band called Hailstorm, and it's got a female singer. And you know, a very popular rock band is Evanescence that has a female singer. And I saw that they toured together, but I was listening to some of that on the way in this morning. I Miss the Misery was a fantastic song. And so let me ask you this in closing, guys, as we kind of wrap up this episode. If you had one band or artist that you wanted everybody to, you know, check out, you feel like maybe they're not as well known, and that could be for a variety of different reasons. You know, give one or two artists or bands that you would recommend to everybody out there to listen to because it's just great music. And it doesn't have to be anything new. It could be something older that people may be unaware of.
Yeah, I'll give you one of each.
Okay.
Right? I'm actually going to a concert soon. Because it is Terry's favorite band.
Okay.
One of them, but the Afghan Wigs are coming to Birmingham. Not a very well-known band, but if within the musical community, highly respected. So
gotcha.
They do great music live, and they've got a discography that's pretty long, but it's there's a small group of people that love them a whole lot. If that makes sense. Because the musicians that are associated with that group, the things that they've done outside that group, it's kind of like they get together to just really jam, right?
Gotcha. Okay, Afghan Wigs is one. What's the other one?
Newer one is a rap artist out of Minnesota that's not very well known called Prof. Yep. Do not pull it up and play it. There is not that is definitely not PG.
Okay, gotcha. I'm looking at them now.
Straight up R.
Okay, Prof. Yep.
But saw him live in Nashville a few months ago.
Okay. All right. Cool.
In a 300-person venue.
Okay.
I prefer small venues myself.
I like small venues too. Yeah. I mean, I you know, because I get older, I probably prefer smaller venues.
Yeah,
but,
too much.
You know, those K-Rockathons had like 35,000 people.
Yeah.
And, you know, not too far away from there, Woodstock 99 happened.
Mm-hmm.
I actually moved down here in 99. I anticipated going back up there for Woodstock, and I don't know if you guys saw what happened at the end of Woodstock 99, but it was somewhat of a disaster. For those that may be unaware, there's a new documentary that you can check out on Netflix and several other platforms. That it's a documentary on Woodstock 99 with those 400,000 people, and it talks about how it went wrong. There was a lack of preparation, lack of planning, and essentially it was a bunch of adults taking advantage of kids. So it's a really good documentary. So, John, what do you got for two recommended artists?
I don't have two, but I have one.
One.
5 neat guys.
5 neat guys.
5 neat guys. Now, they were very popular in the early 80s, and I think they're making a comeback. And I do believe we have a spot for them right now.
They're making a comeback. There's no question.
Yeah.
On college campuses everywhere.
That's pretty risque if that was back in the 50s.
Well, yeah, I'll hook you up with another one in the late 60s.
60s is a little bit more just like, things are starting to get a little risque. So I have 2 artists that I would recommend. And again, I listen to all sorts of different genres, but the first one I'm going to give you, have you ever heard of the Revivalists? So they're based out of New Orleans. They're a rock band, but they definitely have, there's kind of a jazzy, like indie funk rock. I don't really know how to describe it, but they've had quite a few #1 hits over the past couple of years. They were featured on a Blue Moon commercial. They had a song, Wish You Were Here, but the Revivalists, and they're awesome live. And the lead singer has like crazy red hair, kind of like the lead singer of Rage. Matter of fact, I was at one concert and they did a Rage cover, which was amazing. Another one I'll give you, and this is more of a Southern rock, but the guy usually he'll dress up like many concerts. He's in a suit, and by the time the concert ends, he's just in his shirt. The tie's gone, the jacket's gone. But it's Southern rock, but it's J.J. Gray. And his band's called Mafro, J.J. Gray and Mafro, but he's from Central Florida, but tours all over the country. Class act, very good music, very good concert. So the Revivalist and J.J. Gray are my 2 suggestions. Hey, with that being said, it's been a long episode, but we had a lot of submissions. It's been a great episode. We were able to have 3 fantastic guests on. We were able to share some of our personal experiences and stories. So, hey, episode 14, it's been awesome. We look forward to episode 15. We shot out a question on the Velocity call yesterday. And I don't know, did we want to go ahead and, it's a sports team question, right? What's your favorite sports team and why?
Great
we
question.
thought that it was,
this time of year,
we thought as a group that was a pertinent choice at this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, with that being said, you guys have anything in closing?
No, just another great episode in the bag. This is episode number 14, right? So
correct.
Looking forward to episode number 15.
That's right.
And yeah, it's gonna be a fun show.
If you can't be good at it.
I've got nothing, guys. I've got nothing.
Except that non-podcast shirt.
Oh.
Yes. Okay, here we go again.
Shots.
So we end as we begin.
Right.
All right.
That's a perfect circle.
Okay.
Another good band.
Any last sponsor requests?
No. We've had so many.
Yes.
And nobody's
buying.
buying.
Publix and Dapper Dan.
It's our sponsor wish list, right?
Wish list.
We wish these companies would sponsor us.
We often utilize the 811 function. So 811, if you want to really get that word out, if you dig, you must call 811 to get to search. So 811, your pens are not working, so you need to get a podcast sponsorship going.
Do one last thing.
All right. With that being said, thank you for joining us for episode 14 of the Satellites Unlimited podcast. Until next time, team, we're out.
Peace.
All we need